Welcome to Sitcom Showdown, a podcast that reviews classic sitcom episodes and inducts them into our very own Hall of Fame. As usual, one of us has chosen a sitcom episode and the other guy has no idea what it's going to be. Will they already know it? Will they love it? Can they be convinced that it's worthy? Let's find out on the Sitcom Showdown.
Welcome back, listeners, to Sitcom Showdown. I'm Steve. I've got Jeff here with me.
Yep.
Yes. Shall I read you a couple of comments from the listeners?
Yes, well, why not? It's always amazing when we get comments. Go right ahead.
We got one from Jay, The Doors of Perception.
Right. Okay, good.
And Jay left a comment on episode 46, which was Swiss Tony. He says, the Brian Pern mockumentary was quite good. The character is a pretentious musician based on Peter Gabriel. That got my attention.
Oh, okay.
Even more because I'm quite into Peter Gabriel. He goes on to say, I have quite fond memories of Swiss Tony. As you said, a short run, another decent show that fell to the 2-series curse of Fawlty Towers.
Ah, I see.
Now, do you know what he's talking about with the Brian documentary?
I do. I think it's Simon Day playing that
right.
character. And does he wear a hat of some description? I don't know, but I've not watched any Brian Pern.
It's called The Life of Rock with Brian Pern. And you're spot on, Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Simon Day, who, of course, plays Jeff,
Hey.
the alcoholic car salesman in Swiss Tony.
And steals the show at every opportunity.
Yeah.
It's
Good on you, Jay.
Oh,
for
thanks,
sending
dude.
that through. Yes, might have to put that one on the list of things to watch. The ever-growing list.
Yeah.
Next, James Webster sent through a comment on episode 30, Leno and Woodley.
Oh, I don't know what to say. Okay, let's hit me with it. What do we got?
He says, went looking for the full Primal Warrior episode on YouTube and found this instead. Glad I did. Jeff is spot on. This episode is 5 stars. This episode is 5 stars.
Hooray.
I probably have watched it 24 times over the years, and it's still great. Jeff is wrong on one thing, though. The karate hand-slapping scene is great, too.
Oh, I remember saying you could cut that whole section out and save 5 minutes, and it'd be much better. Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. At least one person's on your side.
All right.
Well
I'm
done,
sending a virtual high five to James here. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Yeah.
And shall we move on to what we're going to be talking about today?
Okay. I mean, that's...
or are you still...
I'm still reliving the highlights of Anaconda. No, the Anaconda.
Yeah, no, I still can't get on board with
the fingers
the
as panpipes gag, which is genius. Anyway, yes, what are we doing today?
Okay, so it's my turn to choose a Christmas episode. And I've gone for Eric Chappell's best-known sitcom.
And I'm giving you a blank look there.
Yes, Eric Chappell is the
he
writer who also did Only When I Laugh.
Okay, right, okay.
Yeah, so this is his best-known one. It's called Rising Damp.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
We all know Rising Damp.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, we do. This is
I
called
know it.
For the Man Who Has Everything. Series 2, Episode 8. Special Christmas episode which aired on the 21st of December 1975.
Right. Now, I could be thinking of a completely different sitcom. Is this the one with Leonard Rossiter?
Yes.
And he's a landlord?
Yes.
And it's got Richard Beckinsale in it?
Yes.
All right, okay, good.
You're on the right track.
Excellent. Good.
Yes, the description is, a seedy bedsit is lorded over by a mean, vain, boastful, cowardly, and racist landlord, Rigsby.
Oh.
In each episode, his conceits are debunked by his long-suffering tenants.
Yep.
I don't know that he actually owns the place, but he's more of a manager. Anyway, I could be wrong about that. This was on Yorkshire television in the UK, as you probably guessed, and it ran for 4 seasons from 74 through to 78.
Okay.
Yes. And as Jeff has said, the most famous person in this is Leonard Rossiter, who plays Rupert Rigsby, the scungy landlord. Now, Leonard was a... Yes? Anything you want to chime in here?
I'm thinking, did Scungy come off the IMDb description?
No, that's my addition.
Excellent. Okay, good.
Everyone knows what scungy means.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Leonard was a famous comedy actor of the time who also starred in The Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin on TV. Do you know that one?
I've heard of it. I've heard of all these things.
Another one to put on your list.
I've watched them, yeah.
Yes. Brilliant. In terms of movies, he was in The Pink Panther Strikes Again, Barry Lyndon, and 2001 A Space Odyssey.
Oh, right.
So he was in a bit of Kubrick.
No, that's it's good to be in.
As you've alluded to, Richard Beckinsale plays Alan Moore, who is a likeable young medical student who lacks experience in life and confidence. We talked about Richard previously in episode 40 because he starred as Lenny Godpa
Yeah.
in Porridge. And he sadly died aged 32 in 1979.
Oh.
But he packed quite a bit into his years.
At least 3 sitcoms.
Also appearing in this episode is Don Warrington, who plays Philip Smith. And Philip is a second-generation British African from Croydon, although for all of the series he claims to be an African prince and the son of an African tribal king. I added, though, that Philip and Alan's share a room in this place.
Right.
Philip,
Not Porridge style with the bunk beds with...
There's no bars on the door,
Philip
Jeff.
on top. And
No.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I said here that Philip is the most educated and worldly of the characters.
Right.
He's quite confident.
Oh.
Now, Don, who plays Philip, has a long list of credits on IMDb, including a long run as Commissioner Selwyn Patterson in Death in Paradise.
Right. Another show I haven't watched.
No.
But I've seen all the ads for it, and that counts.
I'm not sure it does, Jeff.
Okay.
Brenda is played by Gabrielle Rose. Now, I was scratching my head as I read through her list of work, because it includes X-Files, Sliders, Smallville, Eureka, and Once Upon a Time.
Fantastic.
She'd be a shoo-in for some kind of a convention, surely.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah. Anyway, the explanation is that she is Canadian.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how she managed to get her foot in the door of Rising Damp.
Yeah.
It's a bit
Perhaps
interesting.
needs more research.
Anyway, I haven't got the time to do the research.
No, that's right.
Just thought I'd make a note of that. So that's the main cast.
Aha.
Now, have you watched any of this before?
No, never. Not even a YouTube 5 minutes.
Not even an ad?
No, not even an ad. Well, I don't remember this being on Aussie TV ever.
No, neither do I.
Oh, well, jolly good then.
I'll let you off.
Ta.
Shall we away?
Yes, to YouTube?
And, yes, watcheth it on YouTube.
All right, let's do that then.
What did you want anyway? Did you come down and see me for? Yes, just a minute. You thought I was away. What did you come in here for, eh?
Well, I just popped in to...
Yeah, to what?
To leave you a present.
Present? You brought me a present?
Yeah.
Where is it?
There.
Ah, yeah. Bath salts?
Captain Violets.
You trying to be funny?
I know it's not much, but it's the thought that counts.
It's the thought that worries me. Are you suggesting I'm lacking in personal freshness?
You have a bath every Friday. I know that.
Every Friday, whether I need it or not.
I didn't know you were going to take this attitude. Shouldn't have bothered.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry, Alan. It's me. It's been so long since anybody here had a mince pie. I'm sorry.
We're back from watching Rising Damp.
It just sped by, didn't it?
Oh, I did.
So let's talk about what happened, Jeff.
Okay.
So we start with Rigsby, home alone on Boxing Day. He's a bit under the weather. I don't know what he's drinking, but yes, he's had...
Sherry, surely he's having a
something
sherry.
like that.
Yeah.
He's discussing his lack of social engagements with Vienna, his cat. It's a bit sad. Anyway, the milkman arrives to make his delivery, so this is fairly early-ish in the morning, I'm thinking. Back when it was a thing for the milk to be delivered by the milkman. But there's no double cream being delivered.
No.
Which is not good, is it?
Not if you're expecting some and you paid for some.
Exactly. And you recognised the milkman, is that correct?
It is.
Yes.
And I was very pleased and got very smug.
Yeah, so he's played by Larry Martin.
Yeah.
Who is recognisable as Mr. Mash from A Being Served. And you said something else as well.
Yeah, and he also, in the radio version of Dad's Army, played Private Walker. And he was also an ARP warden in a couple of episodes of Dad's Army.
Right.
And I knew his name was Larry, but I forgot what his surname was. But there you go.
So he must have been pretty busy during the 70s.
Oh, yeah, he's very good. Very, very good.
Yes, he does well here. So, Rigsby, who's just been complaining about how he's lonely, doesn't really embrace this encounter with the milkman, though, complaining rather loudly. Fred says it's no wonder you're on your own at Christmas. Rigsby says, well, I prefer to be on my own. This is a religious festival to me, and I feel it's getting too commercial, and I like being away from the greed and hypocrisy of society at this time of year. And then gives Fred what I think is a miserly Christmas tip of sorts on the way out the door. Is that how you read that
Totally.
transaction?
Yeah, we gave him the lowest possible. It might have been a 1p piece or something like that.
Or what's less than a p? A threepence?
Oh, I don't know. A halfpenny.
Tuppence?
Well, tuppence is 2p, isn't it? I don't know.
What do I know?
Look, in a previous episode, you thought that Britain were on the euro, so there we go.
Yes, the ways of
The British
currency are a mystery to me.
Yes, indeed.
We've established that.
Yeah.
So we continue with Rigsby's monologue, and he draws our attention to some mistletoe that he has expectedly hung over a portion of his living room or wherever we happen to be. And there's another knock at the door. Well, there is a knock at the door, and this time it's Gwen, the mail lady, making a hand delivery,
Right.
which is somewhat special. Ooh. She's excited to deliver Rigsby what looks like a Christmas card. He's very nonchalant and says, "Oh, well, I'll put it with all my others." And she says, "Hang on, I deliver the mail here, and I know there haven't been any others." So what are you talking about? "That's why I got excited," she says, "because I know that you haven't had any others, and this is your first one." Anyway, this has put his nose out of joint.
And he has to invent a lie about the mail being forwarded to his brother's house.
Yes.
And all these sorts of things, and just,
But he was planning... Yes, he was half planning on staying at his brother's house over Christmas, but apparently they had a row
over a
the
drumstick.
year before over a drumstick.
I don't know if that's a lie. I can't believe anything he says.
A turkey drumstick? A chicken drumstick?
Oh, it'd have to be chicken. Turkey's an extravagance.
A drumstick? Who knows? Anyway, at some point in this conversation, it occurs to him that he might get some use out of the mistletoe after all. So he kind of manoeuvres her under it to try for a snog. But she's in uniform, so she's not having a bar of this. And she complains that he's tampering with the Royal Mail.
Oh, Captain Mannering would be proud. Yeah,
yes.
Very
Again,
good.
This annoys him quite a lot, and he dismisses her, picking up his mail. And opening the Christmas card, he complains that his writing is getting worse and worse.
Here we are with the great tradition of people writing themselves cards.
Well, maybe this is where it all started.
Yeah, could be. Now, I remember we previously commented on this, and I brought
Richard
up...
Curtis was inspired.
Yeah, that's right. What was all that about? Which Richard Curtis one?
Well, Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Steve.
No worries.
Yeah.
Upstairs, Brenda and Alan are arriving home early from Alan's parents' place, where they've been. Thinking Rigsby is away at his brother's, and they'll therefore have the place to themselves. Alas, it's not to be. Brenda decides she's going to warm up by getting a bath, and Alan says that he'll go down to Rigsby's room and bring up a heater because it's so cold up there. Not expecting that to be a problem. Then he's going to take some bath salts through to her, which he bought her for Christmas as her Christmas present.
Aha.
Is it worth pointing out at this point that they are somewhat a couple?
Yeah, definitely it's worth pointing out.
Yes.
I have to ask you about all this.
Yeah. This is their relationship is not has not been made known to Rigsby.
It's not landlord approved.
It's not. There is no landlord approval.
There would be recriminations if he knew.
There'd be repercussions. Anyway, as he's off to do the thing with the bath salts.
Who's he in this case? Oh, sorry, Alan. Right, yes, good.
Alan notices that she has more than one packet of bath salts.
That means somebody else gave her a present.
Yeah, I think it was really on trend in 75.
To have the violet
bath salts.
Bath salts. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so he pockets one of them on his way down to get the heater.
Yeah.
Okay, important note. Back downstairs, Alan nips into Rigsby's room to grab the heater, where he's disturbed by Rigsby.
Oh.
They're both a bit shocked to find the other one there. Neither of them should be there. They have a bit of chit-chat. They pull Rigsby's lone cracker. And then Rigsby realises that Alan came into his room for something, not expecting him to be there. So what was that about? And Alan thinks quickly and he says, "Oh, I was coming down to leave you a present," and he whips out the bath salts.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, no, it's just I found it amusing that instead of going, "Oh, isn't that a lovely thought," Rigsby's, well, not his first thought, but one of his first thoughts is, "Are you saying I whiff or something like that, and I need some smelly bath salts to cover up my horrible smell? I have a bath every Friday," he says, "whether I need it or not."
Yeah. Alan goes, "Yeah, I know you do."
He's lending credence to his story.
They're probably
about
sharing the
bath
same
salts.
bath, right?
To save water.
Maybe Rigsby has it on a Friday. Alan has it on a Tuesday. Brenda on a Monday and
all with the same
Philip
water.
on a... Of course.
Right. Anyway,
Would you do it any different?
I interrupted you there.
They should probably share the bath salts now.
Okay. They would have lost their fizz by that point.
So, yes, after having... Yeah, go on.
Right. So we're at the point where Alan has invented this story about leaving a present for Rigsby.
I was very impressed.
He did think on his feet. It was pretty good.
Yes, this is going to set us up for something later on.
Ooh.
Anyway, Rigsby, he's a bit disgruntled by this, but he does thank Alan and offers him a mince pie and a drink.
After a bit of a fight.
Yes.
Not a altercation, fisty fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked this bit, and I'll bring it up now instead of later on. The more or less Alan just says, "Come on, stop being such a grumpy old so-and-so. I got you a present, and, it's Christmas," and blah, blah, blah.
Talks him around.
And then for the briefest instant, you see a bit of humanity in Rigsby, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, and I'm just being, here, have a mince pie." And I thought, isn't that nice?
Yes.
And then he goes on to undo all that. But sorry, yes.
You do see a chink in his armour.
Yeah.
Briefly. And they discuss how Rigsby had to pull the wishbone on his own the previous day.
Oh.
And Alan says, "Well, at least you got the wish." He says, "Well, it hasn't come true, unless you've seen some nubile young female in a negligee floating around here."
Yeah.
At which point Brenda comes in wearing a negligee, because she's wondering where Alan got to, but of course she can't say that. So she beats a hasty retreat when she sees Rigsby, and he thinks maybe his wish has come true.
Oh. In exchange for what he did to fix her pipes or whatever.
He fixed her pipe 6 months ago, and she promised him a kiss at Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Maybe that's why she left.
Yes.
I don't know. Anyway, in the next scene, Rigsby is getting ready to pay Brenda a visit, probably to remind her about the pipes.
Yeah, and instead of lounging around in his literally moth-eaten cardi, he's decided to put on a tie and put on a suit jacket and spruce himself up.
Yes.
For the trip upstairs.
Looking a bit dapper. So he's not realising, of course, that she and Alan came home together. He thinks that she was paying him a Boxing Day visit in her negligee. And Alan just can't talk him out of this notion. So upstairs he goes to invite her around for a drink and hopefully manoeuvre her under the mistletoe.
Oh.
You wanted to see me, Brenda?
Oh, yeah. I just got down to see what sort of Christmas you'd had, Rigsby.
Oh, yes. Oh, all right. I was on my own, except for Vienna. I think he's got the mange.
I thought you were staying at your brother's.
No, I just told everybody that. It was out of pride, really. No, he didn't want me. We had a row over a drumstick last year.
Over a drumstick? Wasn't that a bit trivial?
Oh, he didn't think so. I hit him with it.
And she says, "Oh, I did want to give you something." She goes, "Close your eyes." And he goes, "Woo, all right." She hands him another bottle of bath salts.
An identical bottle of bath salts.
Yes, it's even the same. I was going to say flavour, but that would be the wrong word. Aroma.
Well, yeah.
Yes, he finds this a bit off-putting and leaves. He really thinks that people are trying to send him a message about his personal hygiene.
Yeah.
With this multiple gifts of bath salt.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, Philip has also arrived early. This is getting very complicated.
Oh.
And he's invited a girl around because she needed a place to stay. And, of course, he thought, Rigsby's out of here. There's a spare room. That'll all be hunky-dory.
Yeah.
So he meets Alan downstairs and they discuss how this might play out later on in the day if their feelings get the better of...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Get the better of them.
Yeah.
Because they share a room. Just reminding you of that. Philip says that he brought home some of his national wine as a Christmas present for Rigsby, and Alan calls it jungle juice.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit of a way of poking a bit of fun at Rigsby.
Yep.
Yep. So leaving, Philip goes upstairs and finds Rigsby on the stair. He's a bit downcast because of the second bottle of bath salts. And mentions that he's got a present for him in his room. Surely that's going to cheer him up. Back downstairs, Philip's friend Lucy has arrived and she meets Alan. We discover that she is of colour.
Yeah.
But not from Africa. She grew up in Northampton.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a bit of a fake out here.
Yes, there is a reason for me mentioning that.
Yeah.
Alan tries and fails to communicate to Lucy that Rigsby is a bit racist and may not want her to stay in the spare room.
Yeah. I don't know why he's sparing Rigsby's feelings in his absence.
No, well, he seems at a bit of a loss as to how to...
Maybe he doesn't want to put her off living there.
Even though Philip's fully briefed her on
Oh, the whole deal.
everyone in the house,
Right,
no
okay.
doubt.
I get you. Right, yeah.
He certainly mentioned that Alan wears hair curlers to bed. Oh, that's funny. Anyway.
Yeah, so Alan's in the
sorry.
kitchen with Lucy.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, he's a bit embarrassed by this, so he heads upstairs to find Philip.
Yep.
Back on the stair, Rigsby and Philip are still talking about this present, and Philip refuses to tell Rigsby what it is. He says, it's in your room. So going downstairs. Now, should he and Alan have crossed paths at some point on the stairs? I don't know. Anyway, going downstairs, he finds Lucy and jumps to the conclusion that she is his present. What?
Well, look, you walk into a room, and what's the newest thing in the room that's going to draw your attention? Now, there's a bottle on the table, which you're probably not going to see, because there's someone in a bright yellow dress in there.
A lovely young lady.
Yeah, a lovely young lady in a bright yellow dress. Yes. So you're going to notice that before you notice the bottle on the table. So I can see how he jumped to the very awful conclusion that Philip's brought him a young lady.
Yes, that's his conclusion. That is his conclusion.
And you're going, oh dear.
He gets very excited. He immediately rushes back up to Philip to thank him. And so his wires are getting thoroughly crossed here because Philip is talking about the wine on the table. Yeah. And he says that his father sent him half a dozen. Yeah. And he shared them with his friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Rigsby's mind is just blown by this. And so going back down to Lucy, he tries to make her comfortable, offers her a drink. Cue a very awkward conversation because he thinks that she's just arrived from Africa. Yeah. And he's showing her the wonders of running water and explaining how there will be no more walking for miles with a pot on your head. Oh. That's just terrible. And it's
a disaster.
It is a complete disaster. And she lets him dig himself deeper and deeper into this hole and seems to be getting a bit of a laugh out of it.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely. She's like, you couldn't take it with more grace. But also probably, since if he's going to be the new landlord, she doesn't want to, punch him in the face or anything.
Yes. Yeah. Now what does he try and do, Jeff? Based on the pattern of behaviour that he's exhibited.
Given that, as someone else put it, he's got this mistletoe and he camps under it like a praying mantis. He tries to explain to her some of the customs in Britain that people do around Christmas time, edging her towards the mistletoe, and then he starts explaining to her that the druid put the mistletoe up, and so the young ladies of the village have to kiss the elder. And she goes, "Who's that?" And he goes, "Oh, it's me." Well, surprise, surprise.
I thought it might be.
Yeah. And he's about to move in to peck her on the lips.
Yep.
And next thing you know, Philip's, well, I'm doing your job here.
You're doing a great job.
No way.
He didn't miss the bit where he says, "Oh yes," and then you get kissed by the elder, which is me. And she says, "Then what happens?" And he says, "We'll get a good harvest next year."
Which was funny. Yeah.
He's trying to explain it in terms that he thinks she's going to understand. It's just, it's horrible. Anyway, Philip arrives looking for Lucy and seeing her under the mistletoe, sweeps in for a kiss, much to Rigsby's horror.
And he goes, "Oi, hands off my bird," more or less. He doesn't actually say that, but,
No. That's, that happens. Alan also arrives and pours Rigsby a glass of jungle juice, which takes the lining right off his throat.
Yeah, just in time, I think.
Yes, it's just about to take his head off. So he sits down and they all slap... Brenda's come in as well, I should mention. They all slap him on the back, laughing their heads off as he's coughing away. And Alan says, "That's done it now. Lucy, he's not going to let you stay." Lucy says, "Oh, he's already said I can have the room." This is while he thought that she was his new wife or domestic servant or something,
or whatever it happens
like that.
to be.
Yes. So they all leave, laughing. They all leave and go upstairs to get Lucy settled in.
Yeah, and of course because Rigsby, he's finding it hard to speak because the lining of his throat's being caned by this jungle juice, as he calls it, and he can't protest about not wanting to give Lucy the room. Yep. And so, but then
plus
again,
they've all been complimenting on the Christmas cheer that he's just demonstrated.
That's right. And they're all, saying, "Good on you for not being
your usual self,
grumpy old sod." Yep.
So while he's trying to shake off the effect of the wine, there's a knock on the door, and Gwen, the post lady, has come back in her civvies.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah,
no Royal Mail to speak of.
Yeah.
So she's ready for a bit of under the mistletoe action with Rigsby. and realising what is going on at last, he stops gargling and heads for her. But at that moment, Fred the milkman reappears to give Rigsby his double cream that he was complaining about.
Yep.
And he sweeps in for the kiss under the mistletoe.
So this is twice. Rigsby's been a mere couple of inches away from a kiss for Christmas.
Pip to the post twice.
Nothing.
So he got the double cream for his pineapple chunks, but no kiss.
Yeah.
Sadly. That's the end of the episode.
Oh.
Right, so we finished our synopsis. Where should we go now?
I don't know.
Do you want to run through some
Yes. You lead off with some
notes or
stuff.
some gags, or
Yes, let's go into some notes and observations and things.
let's start with the title.
Right.
For the man who has everything.
Hmm.
Well, I think the joke is pretty obvious here because Rigsby has nothing. And I don't know if it's talking so much about possessions, but more relationships, I would say.
Oh, okay.
And we know from the device of his chat with Vienna and from the card that he's lonely and miserable on the inside.
Yeah.
But when these people appear unexpectedly, instead of being pleasant and welcoming like you would expect someone to be if they're lonely and miserable,
Yeah.
he's full of bravado, saying how he prefers to be alone.
Yeah.
He lies, telling them how for him Christmas is a solemn religious holiday and how he received loads of Christmas cards. And then he's mean with his tip to Fred and he's complaining about the double cream. He's prideful.
Yeah.
I think one of the examples I had here is that he's complaining about Fred's holiday to Spain and how ever since he got back from the Costa Brava, Fred can't get the orders right and all this sort of stuff. And I think he's just seething on the inside that the milkman's been to somewhere exotic and nice like Spain, but he never has.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's a bit of pride working against him there. And then also when Gwen says that she's not wanting to kiss him while she's in uniform at work, essentially, he kind of immediately
fobs her off and says,
shuts her down. And says,
you might have been your lucky day.
Yes, but anyway, too bad, see you later. So it's a classic case of cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No, you put it very well when you said he's full of bravado and stuff, and it's all about saving face and giving everyone the right impression and everything, even though your life is miserable and horrible.
Yep.
And if you just showed a little bit of vulnerability, people might like you more. But anyway.
Maybe. Could be something to that. Yeah. In fact, I've said here another reason that Rigsby might be alone is that he's not very good at emotional intelligence.
Ah, yes. Very good. Nice buzzwords there.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
So some examples.
Right.
When she's being very kind to him, she's not even opposed to the idea of this mistletoe encounter.
Yeah.
But he completely misreads all of that.
Yeah. I was shocked that a young lady would even want to come in and spend time with him, much less. Yeah, anyway.
Well, she definitely went the extra mile.
Yeah.
Whereas he thinks Brenda is interested, when really she just kind of strings him along, so he'll do the odd job for her as needs require. So 6 months previous, he'd fixed her pipes and promised her a kiss at Christmas time.
Yep.
So he's been treating her nicely on that promise.
Yeah.
Ever since. So he's completely got the wrong end of that stick. He's got no clue about Brenda and Alan.
No.
Philip, who's obviously educated, worldly, and actually has some success with the ladies, probably because he treats them as human beings, he views him through this racist lens.
Yep.
And then does a similar thing with Lucy, who bears with him very patiently.
Yeah.
So he's all over the place when it comes to relationships and being able to relate to people.
Because he doesn't see people as people. They're just the roles that they're supposed to play in life.
Yes. But I did say they did well in the script because they sow some seeds of why he would jump to certain conclusions.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are intentionally leading him astray.
Yep.
Sometimes it's a misunderstanding, and then sometimes it's just his prejudice.
Yeah.
But he's mean enough to warrant the pranking.
He is.
But not mean enough to be completely unlikable. And I think you said you got to see a little bit of humanity in there.
You did.
At one point.
Briefly. And also there is that he is in somewhat of a position of authority as well, being the landlord.
Yep.
So you don't want to get him on offside too much.
Yes, I think they do bear that in mind. Anyway, he does seem to get himself into a bit of a pickle in this episode. At what point would you say he just starts spinning out of control and doesn't stop?
I don't know, around the time he starts interacting with Lucy, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
That starts the whole thing off.
Yep.
Yeah. He tries snogging 3 different ladies in the space of about, I don't know what it is, 2 hours or something like that.
Yep.
It's
I mean,
it's crazy.
there's mistletoe's only going to do so much in that particular situation.
Can only take you so far.
Yeah.
So he can't speak, he's gargling water everywhere, and he misses the one true opportunity he's got.
I'm glad
for
you
a kiss.
pointed out that was water. So I didn't mean to interrupt what you're doing there. But I thought he, at that point, had gone, this is all gone.
It's all gone
Completely belly up. I'm going to get hammered. And that he was having more and more of this wine or his sherry or whatever, and that he's like spitting it all over the place.
Now he's been over to the sink and got some water in his mouth
to
try
sort
and
out his throat from the jungle juice.
to try and wash out the jungle juice.
I see. Now I
So
understand.
he's got a mouthful of water, and she's talking to him,
saying
how
I'm
she
ready
might
for
be
a kiss.
and he's like, shit. Water's coming out of his mouth all over the place.
Not a very nice prospect for the poor lass.
Not at all. Anyway, I think Leonard Rossiter does a brilliant job of communicating all that stuff. He's very good at being contradictory.
Yep.
Furtive. That's another buzzword. for
Oh,
this.
nice one.
Changeable and desperate.
Yes.
He's a bit of
You're
a
in the
desperado.
zone. Oh, yeah, and he's all about saving face, which he wouldn't have to save if he just acted like a normal person or a decent human being in the first place. And so since we're on that topic, so one of the notes I've got is very Hancock, and the character of Rigsby here is very Hancockian, with faulty Towersian misunderstandings. You've got a hint of that in this episode of Rising Damp. But so, yeah.
Is this because he makes references to the war and things like that?
Yeah, and also he's just, all those words you said, which were great. He's hypocritical, delusional, moaning, and he has these imaginary interactions. So I think they're very similar characters here. They've got these little lives trapped in their little houses, but they imagine things should be going so much better for them. Anyway.
They kind of handicap themselves a bit because of that.
Yeah, because they can't be people. They've got to fulfill these roles. Hancock was always boasting about all these things and telling fibsy wibsies and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, never mind.
And he goes to get some blood taken out of his arm and he becomes a big wuss.
Yeah, that's right. After telling all these stories of all his war heroics.
Yeah.
Yes, so you were just saying that Leonard Rossiter's doing a bloody good job. Yeah.
In short, yes.
Absolutely.
I also like that this is a bit of a farce, if you know what I mean by a farce. You've got people...
The misunderstandings.
Misunderstandings, that's one of the things I've got on here. It's
Yeah.
people not expecting each other to be there. There's rushing about, doors being opened and shut, all that sort of business. I like the way it's plotted with the gifts of the bath salts, which throws him out a bit.
Yep.
He does like that someone's giving him a gift, even if it's not something he would want. And, yes, of course, the gift of Lucy being a complete misunderstanding. Does he really think that Philip would give him a woman?
Oh, I don't know.
What's the deal with that?
I reckon he probably thinks that since it's something he wants anyway, he's not going to ask too many questions. That's what I think.
Right. Okay.
Pretty much. And if you didn't think that, it wouldn't be as funny as it is.
Yep. I've got a couple more points to make about the plot.
Excellent.
Yes. The first one of those is that at the end of the episode, we replay the start in reverse because we've got Gwen coming in
Yeah.
to get her kiss that she missed out on
Oh.
in the morning, and then she's followed by Fred.
So she was the second person to enter and the second last person. And then Fred, the first person, is the last person.
Yes.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
Now,
Oh,
if
very
they
good.
just included some kind of line to Vienna the cat at
Oh,
the
yeah.
very end, it would have been completely perfect.
Cool.
Anyway, that was pretty cool. And yes, if Rigsby hadn't complained about the double cream, then he would have got his kiss with Gwen.
Yeah, because
Because
the
Fred
milkman came back
returned.
with double cream
Yes.
because he'd complained so vociferously.
Yes.
But at least he has got his double cream now. So what the hell? At least he's gained something.
At least he's got something to put on his pineapple chunks.
Yeah.
That's the first one of my gags, actually, the pineapple chunks gag. Have you got any gags?
Yeah. Well, I know. I'll preface this by saying this is definitely one of those times where they're so rapid fire and the lines are just going bang, 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 bang. You don't have time to write them down or you'd miss another 4. And plus I was wrapped up in it, so I wasn't taking a lot of notes. But I did mention the praying mantis under the mistletoe gag, which I just thought that's a beautiful turn of phrase. It's just superb. But when he's talking to Fred the milkman...
Isn't it the male praying mantis that gets eaten
Yeah,
following the act
something
of
like that.
lovemaking?
I think so.
Okay.
That's
Maybe
neither here nor there. I don't think it'd ever get that far. Anyway, so he's talking to...
Gwen doesn't look the kind of person to
No.
bite your head off.
Anyway, so he's talking to the milkman, Larry Martin, called Fred, and then but he uses the phrase, he goes, I was expecting double cream, I get 2 bottles of dirty water. Yeah, meaning that the milk's been watered down, or it's just, and this is how bad Fred's deliveries have been since he went to Spain and lost all discipline and things like this. And I just thought, it's a more beautiful turn of phrase, and the way it was delivered by Leonard Rossiter. Anyway.
What would Rigsby make of Hilo?
Oh, I don't know.
What?
He'd think it was a scam of some sort. Yeah. What's the one that's even less powerful than Hilo? Where they stripped everything out of it.
I don't know.
I don't know, but there is another one.
Yes.
That is like dirty
I hope the
water.
listeners know what we're talking about.
Oh,
Very, very low-fat milk.
crikey. Now, this him having organised to be with his brother for Christmas, and then that didn't come through, which initially I thought was a fib. Anyway, but when he was... Another moment of honesty from him is when he's explaining to Gwen about how he wasn't visiting his brother because of the argument over the drumstick. Now, there's 3 or 4 brilliant lines in quick succession here, and I think I missed a few of them because I was too busy writing down the argument over the drumstick. And that was brilliant. Did you catch any of that?
No, I haven't got
fair
that
enough.
in my list.
Dear listener, go to YouTube and watch this episode if you fancy it, and just know that there's going to be some fantastic gags in quick succession.
Yes.
Yeah.
So get your pen ready.
Yeah. That's right. And leave a comment on the video.
That was a good one. I like the one where he says, I can't remember who he's talking to, whether he's just talking to himself, but he's complaining about the potency of this mistletoe or something, and he's saying, I don't see Sophia Loren popping in for a mince pie at this rate.
Yes. I think he was talking to himself.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I think,
Jolly good.
okay, that might be the scene where he kind of introduces you to the fact that he's got the mistletoe hanging.
Yeah. He's talking to Vienna the cat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, we've already talked about a number of these gags. So Philip has said how he got his father sent 6 to him for
Bottles
Christmas.
of wine.
Yes,
Yes.
referring to bottles of wine, not to ladies.
Yes.
And he's given one of them to Rigsby.
Yes.
So Lucy is saying, I will want 2 days a week off.
Yeah. And he goes, just my luck.
Yes,
He's
6 of them,
got
and I
6.
get the shop steward.
The shop steward. Oh, yeah. That's probably getting a quick hit in at the unions there.
Yeah, maybe.
Ah.
Then he spends 5 minutes explaining to Lucy the scientific wonders of the Western world. Yes, that's the end of my list.
Far out.
I think we doubled up on most of those ones.
Yep.
There were a few double entendres thrown in, but not much was made of them.
What, for the mums and dads?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, okay. I missed all of those.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
so you'd be all over
we'll
those?
take it as read that they'll be there.
Yes, there was a few.
It wouldn't be British 70s humour if there weren't.
No, exactly.
Oh,
Something to do with cracking nuts,
yes. Well done.
pulling crackers.
Yes, yes.
Someone got the big end of the cracker, or something like that.
Now, I'm glad you brought that
Pretty-
up, because
Yeah.
one of my last bits of scribbling here is that it does say there's actual Christmas gags
Yes.
in this show. So a lot of sitcoms, as we're beginning to discover, do their Christmas episode, and either it just means they've got a Christmas tree in the background and it's business as usual, or even if it's Christmas themed, the dialogue doesn't have a lot of references to Christmas, and this is packed with Christmas puns and things.
The first 2 or 3 times I watched it, I thought it was completely devoid of references to the baby Jesus.
Yeah?
But then this time through, I noted this bit I completely missed, which is when someone's explaining about how Lucy is looking for the place to stay for a day or 2.
Oh, yes.
Because she's got nowhere to go. And
Yeah.
I think Philip says, it's in the spirit of the Christmas tradition for
For a
Someone
lady
to
to
provide
turn up and
Yes.
say, I've got nowhere to stay, and can you put me up for the night?
and for the innkeep to provide a place on
Yeah.
short notice.
Ah.
And Alan goes, she's not pregnant, is she? Anyway, yes, so you're right, there are a few references to Christmas thrown in as well.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Well, I'm at the end of my notes.
All right.
That's it. I'm nominating it. Based mostly on Leonard Rossiter's performance as his own worst enemy, and basically completely spinning out of control in this episode. And I did like the contained, in terms of location, plot, which was quite tight and really zipped along.
Oh, yeah. Right, that's your basis.
That's why I chose that one.
Oh, good. All right, well,
What did you think?
I have written notes that echo that. Tightly plotted, not a lot actually happens, but it's extremely well done because all the things are laid down that need to be laid down for the misunderstandings, but it's not so much about the plot, it's about all the interactions between the people. And that's just done superbly well. And now I see why Rising Damp has its reputation, because essentially you've got an extremely good cast, and the writing's very good as well, and there's not a lot you can fault it on. It's pretty good, isn't it?
Well, I like to think so.
Yeah. I'm appreciating a bit of Rossiter now, and Richard Beckinsale's always nice to say. He didn't have a lot to do in this one.
No. No, but he is good. He's kind of somewhere in between Rigsby and Philip because they're quite polar opposites.
So he's a
he's
mediator of sorts.
The mediator or the middleman in some ways.
Ooh.
He bridges the gap between them.
Ah, very good. So yes, I think it should go into the Hall of Fame. Rising Damp looks pretty good.
Okay, awesome.
Merry Christmas, Dave.
Thank you.
Oh, well, there you go. And so we'll be back in January 2020.
Yes.
Episode 65. Dear listener, be safe over Christmas.
Yes.
And whatever other holidays you're celebrating, and come back and join us next year, and not too hungover if you can manage it.
Yes, that would be great. And as always, send those comments through.
Oh, yes.
We really enjoy getting those. And we'll see you in January next year.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. See ya.
Bye. Join us next time on Sitcom Showdown when we'll be putting another 5-star episode under the microscope. And in the meantime, you can contact us with feedback on Facebook, Twitter @Sitcom Showdown, or by email sitcomshowdown@gmail.com.